I welcome all of you to Kalalgoda English Medium Retreat. Sorry for the delay. I think we have some written questions. We'll start the question and answer session with the written questions.
I haven't had a chance to count.
It's all right. Yeah.
So I'll start with the meditation questions and then shift to the Dhamma questions.
Okay. Yeah.
Respected Bhante, this is a question on sitting meditation. What remedy would you please recommend for feeling drowsy during sitting meditation? Should one go on trying to fight it? Or take a break with walking meditation with gratitude, and may you reach Nibbana very soon.
Yeah. Actually, these days you may experience that problem because little wet and little gloomy and cold. So therefore, you have to endure it. And on the other hand, typically, if you are involved with various activities, say you are spending a very busy life and then you are coming for meditation, then definitely the first few days you might encounter this issue, because now you have to do almost nothing. Basically you simply have to watch the breath, and breath is not at all something interesting or something exciting, rather very boring, very neutral object. So compared to what you are experiencing at your home or at your working place or in the society, so it's all excitement, all are very much stimulating your mind. But here you have nothing much to do and simply watch the breath, and so while you are, say, breath or either rising and falling or keeping your attention on the posture, so all these are extremely boring experience. So definitely initially first couple of sessions you might feel sleepy, you might feel drowsy. That is very natural. But on the other hand, if you again and again get up and go to the walking session, walking path, so that's also not the correct answer, because on one sense, so your mind has to concentrate or rather calm down, then only you fall asleep. Actually calming down is a result of subsiding kamachanda, that is the sensual desire, as well as the ill will, the anger. So if you have a lot of lust going on in your mind, you can't fall asleep. And again, if your mind is really agitated, you can't fall asleep. Again, if your mind is very angry, again you can't fall asleep. So all these major defilements has to subside, then only your mind go to sleep. So in one sense, you are able to subside certain defilements, certain what you call hindrances, but ultimately you get caught to Thina Middha, that is the Sot and Topa. So this is a kind of a tricky area that you need to cross this area. Again and again, if you are simply getting up and going to the walking session, that's also not the correct answer. You have to come to this situation, say drowsy situation or kind of sleepy situation, and there you need to tackle how I can overcome this area. One solution is, if you are feeling that mind is getting drowsy, you can again restart the labeling. If suppose you are doing rising and falling meditation, you are keeping your primary object as rising and falling, and suppose it has become very subtle, very calm, so assume that you have even discarded that. So you can simply keep your attention on rising, falling with a very quiet mind, and further and further your meditation improves. But when you are going to that level, assume when mind becomes very refined, you fall asleep or you feel drowsy. At that time, if you recognize it, you can simply introduce labeling, introduce noting again and again. It may be somewhat gross now, because mind is refining, gradually refining. But when you still don't have the very refined mindfulness to maintain this refined state. So therefore you fall asleep. So at this stage you can again introduce labeling, that means rising, falling, rising, falling. Likewise again you start mentally verbalize. So then again mind can little wake up. Again you get the energy. And on the other hand, you before you sit, you can drink some hot water, drink some say tea or coffee, so that your body get energized. That's another solution. Another solution is as we did now, so you have to have a fairly illuminated environment rather than a gloomy environment. If the environment is pretty gloomy, it is very easily you feel drowsy. And today especially is a little wet day and some gloomy day, so definitely you may have this issue. The other thing is, if it is a dry season, you can go out rather than in a closed environment. You can sit in a open environment, so that you get some connection with the environment. So and you feel some breeze coming, and so it's difficult to fall asleep. So if not all these things help, you can get up and go for a walking session. Yeah. And the last solution, go to sleep.
Thiruvan Saranai Swamin Vahansa. Primary object, when I sit to do breath, Anapanasati, inside nose, can't describe it. I can stay about 5 minutes. When my mind is settled, I hear a soothing sound of the forest, like chirping of crickets at night. But only a few get this experience. Is there a Dhamma explanation to this situation? Has this anything to do with meditation? Even without meditation, I get this sound. Please advise.
Yeah, it's a very common thing, common experience. Some actually not all experience this kind of situation, but most of the yogis may experience it, because when your mind settles, there's a kind of a frequency you are going through. At that time you can hear kind of a sound. So it's, as the question says, kind of a sound of crickets. Or there's another beautiful saying, Rahayo. What's it called? What's the English term for that? Crickets. No, there's another word. Crickets is another creature, no? I can't remember. Anyway, so you got the message, right? So there's a very high frequency sound, so you can hear, and it happens when your mind settles, when your mind calms down. So therefore we typically call it as sound of silence. So, and even there is a book written by Ajahn Amaro, read as Sound of Silence, so inner listening. And again Ajahn Sumedho has also published a book called Sound of Silence. So this is a kind of a common term, common experience available in the meditation jargon. So, and you can experience it. It's not you should not get disturbed by it. So that's the point. So you now say, for example, while you are observing rising and falling, your breathing also is there. So you don't pay attention on breathing, rather you pay attention now on rising and falling. Suppose you are paying attention at the breathing, at that time rising and falling is also there, but you are not selecting that. Similarly, while suppose your primary object is rising and falling, then this sound is also available, but don't pay your attention to that. It's also there. So it's a kind of a background music for you. So with the background music, you are continuing your meditation. So if you pay attention to that, it's available. And say, as you said, when you are in a very relaxed mood, say not in sitting, maybe you are walking or you are in just sitting and just relaxing. If your mind comes to a very relaxed mood, again you might even hear it. So that indicates your mind again has settled. So actually through meditation, your mind becomes very settled, very relaxed. So at that time you start to listen to this, start to hear to this. So therefore, it's an indication that your mind is now fairly calm, fairly silent. Till your mind is talking, if the inner chatter is going on, then you can't listen to it, you can't hear it. But when your inner chatter is fairly subsided, fairly quiet, and mind is very quiet, and your mind becomes very refined, calm, and then you can hear it. So it's a kind of a blessing in a way to indicate that there is a kind of a rhythm available in the environment. It's not really the environment, maybe happening inside. So it's a kind of a rhythm available, but later it also may disappear. It's a kind of a stage that you may be experiencing, and only thing is, don't consider it as a kind of a bottleneck, as a disturbance. Rather, it's a kind of a background soothing sound and happening continuously, and you simply pay your attention at the breath or rising and falling. That is your selected primary object, and you continue. Yes.
There are 7 more questions, Venerable Sir.
Sorry?
I just counted. There are 7 more questions.
Okay.
Sitting meditation, primary object, in-breath and out-breath. Feel the in-breath and out-breath inside the left nostril, perhaps 1 minute. Experience strong anger and anxiety, violent thoughts, not directed at anyone or any object in particular. Haven't yet forgiven myself for a lot of things, and spending this time alone makes it even worse, as I can't attain peace. Haven't been able to meditate as my suppressed anger and emotions come to the surface, which makes it even more difficult to be or walk at peace. Having a bad urge to smoke or have a drink, my most common way of escapism that I have been using for many years now. Wanted help and guidance on what could be done to meditate peacefully, or how to make peace with myself. Walking on the sand paths, I can keep attention about 4 minutes. In the past, I could do this for an hour.
So that what is the last statement?
In the past,
yes,
I think
could do it for 1 hour. Now just 4 minutes only.
4 minutes.
Okay. May I know who has written it? Maybe a male yogi. So anyway, sorry?
The person was reluctant to come forward, Venerable Sir.
Right. I also felt, but I thought that he might be brave, that's why I asked. Only issue is that you are able to have 1 hour and now you can't. So that is something that we need to discuss little bit, because it happens now. Say for example, when you are meditating at the beginning, your mind is progressing and your mind fairly calms down, and you are experiencing some calmness. And once the calmness is achieved, and then there's a possibility that there are so many thoughts popping up, kind of all of a sudden many thoughts start to come continuously. So there's a possibility for that. So if you are experiencing this, there is nothing to do, simply be patient, because this is a good sign. It's a kind of it's kind of a catharsis happened, where say assume that there's a kind of a mental catharsis type of a thing happens, where certain blockage was there in the mind, kind of a suppression was there, lot of thoughts and emotions and various experiences were suppressed, and when your mind calmed down to some extent, so these things can pop up, these things can burst, and let it happen. So otherwise it becomes a kind of a tumor. becomes a cancer otherwise. So if when these things happen, so you simply have to allow it to happen. So you should not suppress it, and you should not consider it as me, mine, why it is happening like that. Rather, you simply just be patient and experience, okay, there are so many thoughts are happening, and I simply have to let go. I simply have to allow it to happen. Simply have to let go, and it may happen for several days even. So it can happen. So that's why I don't know exactly, whether this is the situation. If this is the situation, what I am explaining is, now you are very sure that your session started in a typical manner, and then as a result of your practice, the mind becomes very calm down, and once you reach to some extent of calm, and then this burst happen. If this is the experience, let it happen. So you simply have to allow it, because once everything gone out, then you feel more relaxed, more peaceful. So this is one situation. Another situation is, so when you have a lot of agitation in the mind, so if you are selecting the sitting posture, it is a wrong selection. So you better go for a walking session rather than going for a sitting session. So because walking, mostly you are very much connected with the environment, and you have some control over yourself, and your eyes are open, you can hear things. You are in a dynamic situation. So there you can actually dissipate all the unnecessary energies, unnecessary pressure happened or accumulated in your mind. So walking is the best option rather than going for sitting. So if you are doing sitting, and suppose your mind is agitated, there's a lot of angry resentment going on, and if you are going for sitting, then it's a waste of time. So rather at that time you need to select walking. So simply walk. And if you have the fortune of going to some forest area, being with trees and looking at some flowers or birds or like that, so if you can connect with the environment, so that's another very good solution. So rather than thinking that I have to concentrate, I have to come that calmness and all these things, you just look at the environment, look at the sky, being with the environment. So acknowledge the experience, these feelings, and that also helps. So rather than trying to suppress all these things and try to control, so we have the habit of controlling things. Very much like, okay, I need calmness. I have to have this calmness. I have to achieve this in 15 minutes. I should my mind should concentrate within 15 minutes. So these are kind of targets we have. So rather than like that, so accept, okay, mind is now agitated. So if you can be mindful about an agitated mind, that is also mindfulness. So if you refer Chittanupassana, it is not always Buddha mentioned about the positive side. So Buddha has mentioned Saragan Chittanti Pajanati. Vitaragan Chittanti Pajanati. Mind is lustful, but I am aware mind is lustful. Okay, now the lust has gone, I am aware, now mind has no lust. Again, Vikittan Chittanti Pajanati. Samahitan Chittanti Pajanati. That means when the mind scattered, so I am aware. Now the mind has scattered. It has no any concentration. It has no any kind of a console. Later, okay, you are not feeding it, by the way. Experience is available, and you are out of it, and mind is scattered, and you are experiencing it, by the way. You are mindful about it. So since you are not promoting it, and since you are not making it mine, and since you are not making an issue out of it, now it slowly it also calms down. Now mind has calmed down. Now Buddha says, okay, Samahitan Chittanti Pajana. So you are in another stage. So likewise, if you refer Chittanupassana carefully, all positive and negative sides are there. But none are called mine. None are called my mind. So when we consider it as my mind is scattered, I am angry, so I need calmness, I need concentration, so you get into another problem. So you are in a kind of a vicious cycle. So mind is already angry and you need calmness, and it is not becoming calm. So you are again angry, more angry. You are pumping more anger. So it never becomes calm. So you just accept, okay, right now I am mindful, but mind is not in a positive side, rather now it's in a negative kind of a angry state. Okay, no problem. You just be angry, I am just be aware. If you are not feeding anger, there's a scientific finding, if you are not feeding anger, it lasts only 1.5 minutes. Anger only lasts 1.5 minutes if you are not feeding it. Suppose due to some reason you get angry, and if you are simply able to recognize it, and if you are not feeding it, maximum it will last only 1.5 minutes. So that's a finding. So more it lasts means that we have somehow pumped some energy. We have given our support. If we are not giving our support, if we are not rationalizing ourselves and thinking the other party is the wrong, I am correct, he is wrong, I am correct, she is wrong. Till you do this kind of a rationalism, you are pumping more energy to anger. So who is burning? The other party or yourself? So we are the ones burning. So we need to burn and understand this situation. Till without it, when I am telling this, it's a kind of external. When you are burning with anger, you recognize why I am burning. Who is pumping this energy to burn? And who is getting burned? It is not the other party. Other party has already gone. It's a long time ago maybe. Incident has happened. But now still I am burning. And because I am proliferating about what has happened and why did he do that, why did he tell that. So like that I am ruminating of various things, I am burning. So the disadvantage is for me, not for the other party. So likewise you need to recognize why I get angry, why mind get agitated, and one solution, as I said, go for the walking meditation rather than sitting. That is one option. Another thing is, so you need to allow it to happen. You need to acknowledge anger. Okay, there's a scattered mind, there's an agitated mind, or okay, there's a resentment. You acknowledge it rather than suppressing it, rather than expecting calm mind. Right now it is not the calm mind, right now it's an agitated mind. Resentment available, I am accepting it, not feeding it. Now it may calm down. Another thing is kind of a forgiveness. Okay, you might get angry because something happened, and if you can forgive, then blessing is for you. If you keep the anger, keep the revenge kind of feelings, you are the one burning. Yes.
Venerable Bhante, when doing Anapanasatiya for about 20 minutes with a good concentration, I tend to fall asleep. Actually, it is not a deep sleep. I could feel what is going on around. At the same time, I could see a bright light, but diminishing. Venerable Bhante, could you please explain this experience? May you attain Nibbana during this life.
Yeah. This actually light is good because now today dark, no? So you have your own light. So it's indication that your mind has fairly concentrated. This typically we call it as Anapanasati Nimitta, where when your mind is well concentrated, if you are not much seeing the differences of the primary object or on the breath, so then you are in a kind of a situation where simply you are keeping your mind at the nostril. You are not much interested about the details. You are simply keeping the mind there. So that as a result, this concentration mostly happens. Rather than the what you call the investigation, the concentration side happens. So typically what we say, not the Vipassana but the Samatha side, the concentration side improves. As a result, this sign can happen. Kind of a typically for most of the yogis, it is a kind of a light. So if you are not properly handling it, so as the question says, it can diminish. because when it happens at the first time, if you immediately look at it, so then it will go away. So it's because it's not yet stable. So it has to become stable for you to look at it. So you simply have to wait till it becomes stable. So assume there's a beautiful simile, I think given by Achan Cha. So he's giving a kind of a simile of a forest pool, where assume that you want to watch the night, the nocturnal birds and the animals are coming to drink water, and you want to see them. And if you are to see them, you have to be very quiet. You have to be very quiet, and you are concentrated, very quiet. And now one by one they are coming. And if they know that you are watching, they simply go away. So similarly, when the nimitta happens, when this sign happens, if you look at it directly, then it gets shy. So these creatures, night creatures, are very shy. So this Anapanasati nimitta also very much like that. So if you look at it directly, very shy, she will go away. You have to look at it very, the side eye. Till that, you have to look at the breath. So by looking at the breath, you are giving the causes. You are preparing the causes. So the concentration is your continuous attention on breath is the cause. As a result of that cause, this nimitta has happened. But immediately, if you forget about these causes, and if you look at this, then you are no more promoting the causes. You are no more building the causes. And what happens is it doesn't yet has the capacity to sustain by itself, so it will simply go away. What you simply need to do is, it may happen, but don't look at it right now. Simply continue your attention on breath. As a result, it may become brighter and brighter. It may become fairly closer to yourself. It may fairly get overlapped with this nimitta, overlap with this concentration sign. Till that, you have to be patient till it happens. So it may assume it was here, but you are simply watching the breath. Now it is slowly coming towards yourself. Now still you are continuously looking at your breath. Now it might become merged very much. Then automatically you can look at it. Once you look at it, now breath and nimitta all are very much the same. You can simply forget about breath, and you can now simply look at the sign in a very gentle manner. Very gently now you are looking at it in a kind of a very softly, very gently, in a very balanced manner. You have to look at it. When this balance properly happens, the concentration might, or the absorption can happen. So so what you are experiencing is the path. It's a kind of a milestone that you are experiencing before this absorption. Therefore, it's a matter of handling it properly. So the solution is, don't look at it right now. Simply continue your attention on the breath till it becomes fairly bright, or till it becomes merged with the breath, and then you look at the sign, and automatically then you can go, you can simply discard the breath and now be with the sign. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante.
And another small thing, and it actually depends on the light also. So if you are in a very gloomy environment, so that also has an impact on this strength, on the intensity or the brightness. So therefore, when you are sitting, select a fairly illuminated place, then that also has an impact. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, I am doing meditation for 15 years. Earlier, I could concentrate on respiration, in-breath and out-breath very well. But now, concentration gets disturbed by various irrelevant thoughts. I can concentrate in walking meditation very well. I can feel even very fine sensations also. Please advise me to develop breathing meditation. Theruvan Saranai.
Actually, if you practice continuously, it is not necessary to experience what you have experienced 15 years ago right now. Say you have experienced 15 years ago breath properly, it doesn't matter, but now you might not well experience breath, doesn't matter. But rather now you experience various sensations throughout the body. It's a blessing actually. So it is not necessary to experience breath right now, but rather if you are able to experience so many sensations throughout the body and assume you can select one of them, and if you can pay attention to one of them and you can maintain that continuously, really good. Because now you are in another side of meditation, basically into the beginning of the Vipassana. So therefore, if you are asking breath, so it's a wrong expectation. Because at the beginning you may do Anapanasati, and for many yogis, beginning they do Anapanasati, and once the mind is concentrated, sometimes Anapanasati has to discarded. You can't continue with Anapanasati because there are now sensations are available and various other element characteristics are available, and now the path is open for you to travel in the Vipassana side. So you simply discard Anapanasati. Now you take these sensations or element characteristics and you can continue a meditation. And assume while you are doing that, again mind scattered, then you can switch back to Anapanasati. So likewise, you don't need to continuously be with Anapanasati. There's no such rule. But for some yogis, Anapanasati can be taken as the primary object and the Anapanasati itself evolves. So that's another method. But for some, it does not happen. So you don't need to worry about it. So you don't need to worry that breath is not available, breath is not visible or sensible like that. Rather when your mind is somewhat collected, if various sensations are available, and if you can concentrate on any of them, and you can maintain that concentration, if you can really see the characteristics, really see how these sensations happen. There was no sensation, okay, now there's a sensation coming up or popping up or arising, and it lasts for a very short period, and now it is disappearing, and then another place there's another sensation arising. So likewise, if you can experience all this, if you can fairly concentrate on all this, really good. So you are in a Vipassana side. Yes.
Venerable Bhante, when there is a disturbance during meditation, does that have to be considered as a sound or hearing? I can clearly identify a point of touch at the left or right nostril time to time. I observe around 4 to 5 breaths completely in and out, but thereafter I get distracted, start seeing people or conversations as if in a dream. Then again I can bring back my attention to breathing. But this happens very often and I feel frustrated. Kindly advise.
Actually, these sounds can happen and even the images can happen. So typically what we call as various perceptions or various signs. So when your mind concentrates to some extent, there's a possibility like you can visualize certain things, you can see certain things. Say a kind of image of a pagoda, image of a Buddha, image of your past relative or something like that. So those are certain images can happen. To some yogis, these sounds also can happen. But we should not get carried away by them. So that is the rule. Actually, we need to remember. So these all are perceptions. These all are mind-made. So your eyes are closed. At that time, when the mind is fairly refined, but immediately suppose there's a figure appearing in the mind. there's a beautiful butterfly coming, or beautiful lady coming, or beautiful flower coming. Different things can happen to different people. And on the other hand, so if it happens, you simply neglect it and come back to your breath, even though it is very attractive. And on the other hand, when your mind concentrates or calms down, if the sounds happening, similar situation. So there are 6 types of perceptions Buddha has mentioned. One thing is the visual perceptions, sights, and the other one is the sounds. Another is the odor, sometimes taste. So typically among these 6, only the first 2 are the most common, sights or sounds. So if the sounds happen, you should not get misled thinking that your mother is calling, your child is calling, or God is calling, or Brahma is calling, or whatever. It is simply a mind-made sound. So you need to understand, it is kind of a deceiving sound, by the way. It's a very attractive sound. So that's why always Buddha is mentioning the perception as a mirage. It's very deceiving. It appears like water, but it is not. It is a mirage. So possible what you are experiencing something like this. So assume that your mind is calming down, and once it calms down, now the sound is happening. And if you neglect it, and again if you can pay your attention to breath, you can refine the breath. Further you can stay with the breath. So you can check that. And another area is possible, and assume you are not while meditating, you listen to these sounds. At night you get frightened. So then you need to check that. It is not something related to the meditation, some kind of imbalance in the mind, imbalance in the brain actually. Some chemical imbalance in the brain, so you need to actually consult a doctor. So it's another situation. So we need to recognize what you are really experiencing, and if you like to talk to me, you can come and privately talk to me. Yeah.
The next are Dhamma questions. So this is a Dhamma question from a previous retreat, I think conducted at Mitrigala. Mm-hmm. According to your Dharma Deshana, which was held on retreat number 213, you were explaining how we can improve Satta Bojjhanga Dharma while we are doing meditation. Venerable Swamin Wahansa, can you please kindly explain about Chittanupassana and the correct time we have to start it, and also how can we practice Satta Bojjhanga in Chittanupassana? Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah. So there's a beautiful sutta called Anapanasati Sutta. It's available in Majjhima Nikaya, where Buddha explains how these Bojjhangas, what you call the enlightenment factors, being developed in Kayanupassana, again in Vedananupassana, again in Chittanupassana, again in Dhammanupassana. So you might be referring this part. So in Chittanupassana also, the Bojjhangas get developed, the enlightenment factors get developed. Actually, one may not immediately come to Chittanupassana. That's something that we need to understand, because looking at the mind by the mind is very refined. So for the beginner, it's almost impossible, because when you start to watch the mind, so various attractive thoughts, various delusive thoughts get make you very much absorbed to itself. So you have very weak mindfulness, very weak concentration, and with that weak mindfulness, when you start to look at the mind, so mind get simply attractive, mind get simply catch you, and you ultimately you become a victim of these thinking patterns. Now thinking happens, emotions happens, you are simply a victim of it. You can't maintain kind of a distance between the kind of this watching mind and the ongoing thinking. So therefore Buddha does not recommend immediately you get into Chittanupassana. Rather, it's better to develop mindfulness either using Kayanupassana or in Vedananupassana. Say you are doing a lot of walking meditation, you do some breathing meditation or the element meditation. So likewise, you can, or even the sensations, Vedananupassana. So likewise, you develop fair amount of concentration, fair amount of mindfulness. After you get that improvement, get that say experience, skill, then automatically your mind, or rather yourself, would be able to look at the mind. So it can, typically it can happen naturally. Now you may be capable of looking at the mind. At that time, say, if you consider the Sati Sambojjhanga, where the mindfulness, enlightenment factor, there Buddha says, you should have a unwavering kind of mindfulness. You should, say you only can maintain say a thought happen and you are able to watch it, but after a couple of seconds you get caught to it. Then it is not enough. Your mindfulness is weak. But Bojjhanga means you are in some higher level of concentration, some higher level of mindfulness. So Sati Sambojjhanga means you are able to look at these thoughts as thoughts, not being caught up with them. Suppose there's a lustful thought happens and you are very steady, you have some fairly established mindfulness, and with this established mindfulness you are able to watch this thought. Okay, lustful thought. There was no lustful thought. Okay, now there's a arising of lustful thought, and you are very clearly watching this arising of a lustful thought. And now you are not sort of breeding it, you are not feeding it, you are not pumping any energy to it. As a result, it is now diminishing, reducing. Now you are looking clearly that lust is fading away. Now again mind is clear. Again there is no lust. So if such established mindfulness is there, while you are watching the mind, when thoughts are happening, then you are developing this Sati Sambojjhanga through Chittanupassana. Similarly, you are able to recognize what type of thought it was. So you are very sure it is not anger, it is lust. So this clearly understanding, clearly recognizing, okay, there are various thoughts available, among them, okay, this is the lust, this is the anger, this is the jealousy, this is the conceit. So likewise, different qualities you are able to recognize, you are able to properly investigate. So this is the investigation enlightenment factor. And you are able to maintain it for a longer period. And that is the effort, Virya Sambojjhanga, because all these things are not really attractive. You may like a very calm, very serene state of mind, but various things are popping. But you are cautiously, peacefully, patiently, you are watching. Again and again you are watching. You have some fair amount of energy in order to continue this practice. Because what is available are not really attractive, are not really encouraging. All are bad things. Maybe anger, maybe jealousy, maybe conceit, maybe many things. Maybe again mind gets scattered, again get concentrated likewise. So all these things, if you are to continue like this, so you need fair amount of energy, fair amount of effort. So the effort enlightenment factor, what you call the Virya Sambojjhanga, you are developing. Sati Dhammavichaya Virya Piti. And if you are able to do this continuously for a fair amount of time, okay, you get some confidence. Okay, now different things are coming, but I am not bothered by them. Mind is mind, thoughts are thoughts, thoughts are not mind. So likewise you get some confidence. So this confidence leads to some sort of a happiness. Happiness will lead to some delight in the mind, some rapture in the mind. Piti Sambojjhanga. Enlightenment factor of the rapture, that's also developed. Piti Sati Dhammavichaya Virya Piti Passaddi. Passaddi is where you feel calm down because you are not pumping any energy, or rather you are not feeding any energy to these various thoughts. Now they start to weaken. Now your mind is no more agitated, rather you are in a very calm state. You feel some floating kind of experience. Your mind become calm, lightness is there. So the Passadi Sambojjhanga, tranquility is available. And as a result, so more and more that now thoughts are disappearing, they become diluted, they become melted, and they all disappear, and mind now become very calm. So the concentration, Samadhi Sambojjhanga. Assume everything is well and good. Now what you have to do? Nothing. Because everything is good, so you have nothing to do. So the Upekkha Sambojjhanga. So, we always want to do something. So that is where we are not allowing the Upekkha to develop. Because suppose there are no thoughts, no anger, no conceit, no lust. So it's very beautiful, very calm. But maybe boring. So that is the another culprit there. So we feel bored. So we recognize this, the situation where everything is very settled. No agitation, no lust, no anger, everything is very well and good. But we can't maintain it. That we need to do something. So at that time, if we are able to do nothing and simply acknowledge it, okay, everything is fine, everything is calm, mind is quiet, well concentrated, I have nothing to do, I am just watching, just be. They are the Upekkha Sambojjhanga, the what you call the equanimity. Equanimity, enlightenment factor you are developing. So likewise, typically in Chittanupassana, if you are able to maintain fairly high state, that is, you can have a situation there are no thoughts, and again your mind is not grasping any feeling, and again it is not grasping any kind of sensation throughout the body, any element character, nothing. And if you are able to maintain a extremely free state of mind, so then there's another maximum, or rather not really maximum, say very high level of equanimity. So that is sometimes people call it as Vipassana knowledge, Vipassana jnana, where Sankhara Upekkha or something like that, different terms can be given. So where the Upekkha, equanimity is developed. So nothing is there, mind has nothing to grasp. So at that time you have to be quiet. Simply just be. So we need to learn how to not to do, just be. So as adults, it's very difficult because we want to do something. So mind is quiet, everything is good. So what shall I do? So you may write, Bhante, no thoughts. So people are asking actually, no thoughts, everything is good. Now what to do next? So what you need? That's what we need to understand. So what I mean, Buddha's teaching takes us to the freedom. So if once you find some freedom, so again you are asking, Bhante, what to do now? When the mind is peace. So when there was a war, excitement, everything is there. Now suppose after a struggle, after a battle, now the peace is available. Then after the peace is available, so if you are asking, now peace is available, what shall we do now? So just enjoy peace. So just enjoy. Yeah, let's go.
Question on Satipatthana Sutra. Thiruvan Saranai Swamin Wahansa. What is the difference of Mahasatipatthana and Satipatthana? That's question one. There are 4 parts.
Yeah, let's answer one by one. So actually there are 2 Satipatthana Suttas available in Sutta Pitaka. One is available in Digha Nikaya and one is available in Majjhima Nikaya. So typically Majjhima Nikaya Sutta is called Satipatthana Sutta, and Digha Nikaya one is called Mahasatipatthana Sutta. The difference is actually only in the Satcha Pabba. In Dhammanupassana section, that's the last section of Dhammanupassana. Last section of Dhammanupassana in Majjhima Nikaya Sutta, it's very short. Only the 4 truths are mentioned. But in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta in Digha Nikaya, it's elaborated. The Tanha, the second noble truth, elaborated in a very vast way, in a more descriptive way. So that is the one major difference. So other than that, both are the same. Yeah.
Kindly explain Kayena Kayanu Passi Viharati Atapi
Sampajano
Satimati.
Vinaya loke abijja domanassa. Yes. So kaya kayanupassi viharati. So typically, I mean, what you need to understand is, typically our mind is either in the past or in the future. We are very unlikely we are in the present. So our body is here, but mind is not here. So body is here, but my mind may be thinking about Mithirikala, thinking about the rain, thinking about home, thinking about, say, your children, thinking about your husband, thinking about your wife. Like that, your mind is not with you. But when it comes to meditation, when it comes to Kayanupassana or anything, so your mind, your attention is now taken to yourself. Assume now you are taking your attention to yourself, to your body. So now you are starting to living with yourself. And now when your attention is being kept within the body, within the posture, assume you are able to recognize, okay, there are various experiences are happening inside the body. Okay, breathing is happening, rising and falling happens. Okay, your blood circulation happens, various sensations are there, various agitations are there, pains are there. Likewise, now you are fully experiencing the body. And now you are looking at the body as a body. It's not my body, it is not someone else's body. This is a body. So it is now breathing. Body is breathing. And you don't need to forcefully breathe. You rather allow body to breathe naturally. So body is breathing. Okay, there's a body, and this body is breathing. Okay, in breath happens, out breath happens. In breath happens, out breath happens. Kaye kayanupasse viharati. The body is available, and you are looking at it, you are watching it, you are not disturbing it, you are not making it mine, you are not making any claim, you are not doing any kind of a control, you have no any preference. Whatever happens, you acknowledge. It may be breathing softly, no problem, you acknowledge. It may be breathing roughly, doesn't matter. It may be long breath, doesn't matter. Short breath, doesn't matter. You are simply experiencing whatever the way it is. Body is manifesting the way it likes, and you simply acknowledge as it is. You have no choices. You have no preferences. And body is behaving as a body. It's not my body. And similarly, suppose at that time, kaye kayanupasse vihirati atapi, sampajano satima. So atapi is where while you are doing this, there may be various thinking happens. Okay, your mind is now taken to the past, taken to the future. You are now discarding all this thinking. So you have to have fair amount of effort to do this, because this experience is not that exciting. It may be very boring. Now the very first question today is, when you are watching the breath, you feel sleepy, because what your body is showing is very natural experience, very neutral experience. It's very boring. So, but the mind may look at, or mind may be asking some exciting thinking, exciting thoughts. So it may be distracted to them. At that time, you need to have effort to forget about these interesting thoughts, forget about these various incidents happen in the past or in the future. You thinking about the future, you forget about them, you come back to the body. You need fair amount of energy for that. So that is the atapi. You need relentless energy, kind of a what you call, you are not giving up. You are not giving up this meditation. You are again and coming back again and again to the body. Atapi, sampajano. Whatever happens throughout the body, you are aware. Where you completely aware of the whole body. Sampajano satima is the mindfulness. Atapi sampajano satima vinaya loke abijja domanasang. So whatever the mind happens, it may again take you to the various despair, various sorrow and all these things, you forget about them. Again come to the body. Again mind may be going for lust, anger and all these things, you forget about them, again come to the body. So likewise, so you have to forget about the various thoughts, thinking, proliferation and all these things, and again come to the body. So this is where the Buddha says, Kaye kayanupasse vihirati atapi sampajano satima vinaya loke abhijja domanassa.
Bhavakarova.
What?
That's the third question. Bhavakarova.
I haven't heard such a term. I think wrong pronunciation.
He showed it to me in Sinhalese and the Pali script and I wrote.
Bhavakarova. Okay, is that the only term there? What's the question?
That's correct. That's the third question. He wants, I guess he probably wants to find out what it means.
Is it in the Satipatthana Sutta? No, Bhavakaro can't be. Bambakaro. So this in the Anapanasati. In the Anapanasati is Bhamakaros. Oh, that's a simile Buddha is giving. Only that point. Yes. So in the Anapanasati, Buddha is giving Bhamakaro, I think. Bhamma. Yes. Bhamakaro. Where Buddha is giving a nice simile, where say you have that saw which has two handles, and say two are one is dragging to one side, another one is dragging to the other side. Or you may have even a single saw, doesn't matter. But you are watching only the teeth which is touching the log. You are not looking at the passing teeth, and you are not thinking about the oncoming teeth. Rather, you are only concentrating, or you are only paying your attention only the teeth which is touching the log. That is the only causing for cutting. Now, the saw has so many teeth. Assume it has 100 teeth. Among them, assume now the teeth, the say 15th teeth or tooth is now on the log. It is the one doing this cutting action. So you are the person who is cutting. He's paying his attention only to that particular teeth where the log being cut, and he is not aware. I mean, he doesn't need to worry about what all the previous teeth or the teeth yet to come. So that is where similarly, when you are paying your attention at the nostril, okay, breath is happening. Okay, how to show? Assume this is the breath, and you are keeping your attention here. Yeah, similarly the whoever is cutting, so he's keeping attention on the log where the saw is touching, and now it is touching. Okay, now the first teeth, for example, now the second, third, like that. Now it's the middle, now it's the going like this, and now it's the end. Now like that, your attention is always at the nostril. You are not following the breath. You are not following the breath, or you are not going inside the body. Rather, you are keeping your attention at the nostril. It's very much like that cutting point at the log. So Buddha is giving that simile in the Anapanasati section in the Satipatthana Sutta. Yes.
And the fourth one is Iti ajjatta vakaye kayanupassa vihirati bahidda
vakaye kayanupassa vihirati. Yes. So this is actually internal and external, where Ajjatta means internal and Bahidda means external, and there are two definitions for this. I mean, you can explain it in few different ways. Say when you are doing Anapanasati, suppose you are now experiencing in-breath. At that time, in-breath becomes your internal. All the rest of the experience become external, even including the out-breath. Because completely your attention is on the in-breath, and you forget about the out-breath and all the rest of your body, and this what you are experiencing is only the internal part. So all the rest of the things are become external. Assume you are now experiencing the out-breath. At that time, out-breath becomes internal. the rest of the whole experience, whole object becomes the external. So only the out-breath becomes internal. So this is one explanation. That's also true. On the other hand, so when you are experiencing Anapanasati and you know how this breathing happens, and you have various fair understanding about how breathing happens and how this body breathing and various characteristics of breathing, how it is arising, how it is changing, and how it is disappearing. So likewise, Anapanasati, even though we take it as a simple object, so it has all the information available in the world, because this is just a one sample of the world we are taking. So, and when you have fair amount of understanding developed through Anapanasati, so you can use that experience, you can use that knowledge to something external as well. So when you think about another person, so that is also a body. There's a body available, and that body also breathing, similar to what your body has done. Because you have already experienced, you have already investigated the breathing within your body. The similar experience, similar situation is available in another body, in a living body. So you can infer knowledge from your experience to something external as well. So what you experience within your body becomes internal, and all the rest of the bodies, all the rest of the living beings who have the similar experience, similar breathing, breathing, inhale and exhale, has a similar characteristics. So you can, it's the same knowledge what you gain through internal experience can be used to the external as well. So that's another kind of explanation. That's also true. So both are valid. This is called Ajjatta and Bahiddha. Yeah.
Last question. Most Reverend Bhante, can you please explain when you achieve Samma Ditti, the sequence to Nirvana and how to achieve it? And the second part is, in meditation, the only way to achieve is meditation the only way to achieve Sotapatti? May your samsara journey be short. May you achieve Nibbana.
Okay. No, actually Buddha has mentioned several methods. So there's a beautiful sutta called Vimuttayatana Sutta, where Buddha is explaining 5 methods as far as I can remember. So one method is listening to Dhamma. So when I am telling this, most of you may be very happy. Just listening to Dhamma, you become a Sotapanna. So many have already attained that. Nowadays, so you can simply go to that place and you can listen, and they will give you the certificate. So that is one option, listening to Dhamma. Another option is the discussions. So the Dhamma Sakaccha. And another is that you are reflecting. You listen and then you reflect about it. And then I think Sajjhayana is also there. You are reflecting and again you are mentally reciting it. That's also there. And the Yoniso Manasikara is also there, I think. You are again and again thinking. And the meditation is also there. So therefore, Vimuttayatana, there are 5 mentioned. So, what we need to understand is we have to use all 5. So don't think that we can take only one and neglect all the others. So we have to try all, because it is necessary to do all. And what we need to understand is, so we are building fair amount of momentum, fair amount of energy through all these methods. So when the mind gets released, we don't know. It may be while listening to Dhamma, it may be while meditating, it may be while you are doing some reflection. And you even the Dhamma Desana, while even preaching, because mind has to be very quiet, mind has to be concentrated, and the wisdom has to be there, the letting go has to happen. All these things has to fairly adjusted, fairly balanced. Then only the release can happen. So therefore, it is very unlikely that only one. You can't only select only one of them and discard all the rest. And you only take one. It's very, it's an unfortunate situation. Rather Buddha has mentioned these possibilities are available. You can't program yourself, okay, only this is the one I am going to use. That is very difficult. So therefore, it is better to use all these possibilities, and you are developing. You listen to Dhamma, you discuss Dhamma, you reflect yourself, you meditate, and you even telling to others, you explain Dhamma. Doesn't matter. Everything is a good thing. So more and more you develop your wisdom. And what's the other question? The first question?
Can you please explain when you achieve Samma Ditti and the sequence to Nirvana and how to achieve it?
Yes. So Samma Ditti actually different stages are mentioned. Say for example, if you consider Samma Ditti Sutta, so Venerable Sariputta starts with Kusala and Akusala. We are wholesome and unwholesome. If one has understanding about what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, that is one level of Samma Ditti. And again, if you know, okay, this is the this is the birth and this is the result of the birth. Jati Jara Marana is the result of that. So that's again is a Samma Ditti, where you are going to the causes. Patisamuppada. That is, if someone has this understanding about the causes, what you call the dependent origination. So the one condition causes another condition to arise. So likewise, you have some understanding about the Patisamuppada. That's also Samma Ditti. Fairly deeper meaning of Samadhi is available in the Kacchanagotta Sutra, where Venerable Kaccana come and directly ask what is Samadhi. There Buddha is giving a very deep explanation, and that Samadhi is actually, you fairly need to have fair amount of concentration, fair amount of wisdom, and again fair amount of Vipassana. Also, where you have to have a very released mind. It is not that you are grasping any kind of a teaching or any kind of a ditti, any kind of a, view. Rather, your mind is utterly released. Where Buddha is telling, if I can remember, Sabbang attitiko kaccana ekayanto, sabbang nattiti dutiyanto, etete ubhavante anupaganma, majjena tathagato dhamman deseti. Everything is available is one extreme. Nothing exists is another extreme. And without taking these two extremes, Buddha is preaching Dhamma in the middle, where this causes that. So likewise, Buddha is preaching Dhamma using the Patisamuppada. And there Buddha is telling, ye loke upaya upadana chetaso aditthana abhinivesa anusaya te pajahanto viramatino upadiyanto. Likewise, very deep, where typically our minds, let me explain something like this. Now, assume this is the object. So, assume this is the mind. And my mind can be closer to this object. This is one situation. And my mind I can hold this object. This is another situation. Okay, I can be inside it. This is another situation. Another thing is, I may be external, but I can have a view about this object. Chetaso aditthana. You have some view about this object. So, and you can have some latent tendency about this object. So likewise, so many combinations are there, possibilities are there within the mind about this. So we have to have release from all these. You are not closer to it, you are not grasping it, you are not holding it, you are not inside it, and you have no view, kind of a grasping view about it. If all these things are not, so what is the state of mind? It is free. Mind is free. So that is Buddha is telling Sammadhitti. That's what I said, it's a fairly deeper Sammadhitti. It is not that you are grasping something. It is not that you are grasping a view is called Sammadhitti. Rather, your mind is released. When the mind is released, Buddha is telling that mind is free. That is the Sammadhitti. So this you better, we can I don't know, we can discuss that sutta. It's a very deep, very beautiful sutta, Kacchanagotta Sutta, very interesting and very deep. Samadhi is explained there. Yeah, that's all, no?
Yes, Venerable Sir, but Could I just ask a follow-up question? You mentioned the Vimuttayatana Sutta.
Yes.
Is that in the Majjhima Nikaya?
No, not Majjhima Nikaya. It's in the Anguttara Nikaya. Anguttara Nikaya, Panchaka Nipata. So I'll look at the exact terms and explain on tomorrow the exact terms.
Okay.
Yeah.